Hey everyone. It is an open door. It's September. I'm sorry, I feel slow. I just in my contemplation this morning, the instruction was every time you notice to slow down just 1% more. And
Mm.
to answer your question, Amy, yes, Sandra's going to be here this morning.
All right.
Okay. But isn't that an interesting instruction? That was the instruction this morning. Every time I notice the invitation is to just simply slow down by 1%.
That's
And
good.
somehow I've taken it to heart. So let me get back to where I was. It is an open door. This is Cindy. It's September 19th. This is the hour that we call sharing the word. We're currently reading Resurrection. And May, just so you know, if you are awake and you're planning on doing this with us, I'll send you this book too. Just say the word that you want it. Let me know in the chat or whatever, and I can send you this book. Um, as is our habit, feels like a useful habit, we start with some words from the guides. Today, instead of a YouTube video, we're going to pull from channeling that took place last night. And I'm just going to play it. And it is an invitation to do some attunements. So I'm actually suggesting that everybody stay muted just because if we all speak out loud because of the way the computer and Zoom works, it's going to sound discordant. I like that word from the guide. So, but speak it out loud. We'll feel the energy, even if technology has us muted. It's only about 6 minutes at the other end. I think it's Amy today. If not, it's Sandra. Um, so here we go.
We're back. We're going to go back in. We'd like to say several things about what is to come. The manifestation of the divine come as you has ramifications on the physical lives that you are indeed living. Your reliance upon the old will actually be diminished. You're always being things as they have been may begin to feel or experience to somewhat other. This is actually useful to know as one embarks upon this experience. Indeed, this is now an experiential teaching. The ideas that we have instructed you in prior texts are present in all that we teach now, but now we are no longer speaking to the mental self, we are speaking to the entirety of the being that is being encouraged and escorted to a higher level of vibrational agreement. And agreement would be the correct term or word to use, because indeed you must agree. Now, all of the attunements that we offer are spoken in agreement or in accord with what is always true. The very first attunement we offered through the man before you was to the energy of the Word, and the Word being the energy of the Creator in action, in an activated state, come in as and with you. You may speak this into being if you wish. Repeat the words after we speak them if you prefer. I am Word through my body. Word, I am Word. I am Word through my vibration. Word, I am Word. I am Word through my knowing of myself as Word. Word, I am Word. And now, if you would, I know who I am in truth. I know what I am in truth. I know how I serve in truth. I am free, I am free, I am free. The divine self in you knows who it is, realizes who it is, knows what it is in manifestation, realizes what it is in manifestation, and knows how it serves, how it expresses most fully as itself. I know who I am, I know what I am, I know how I serve. The divine self is free. It is not conditioned in the idea of time or space or calendar as you utilize it. Consequently, it is not limited by past doctrine, past instruction, and the bias that you may hold about form and field and time itself. The claim, I am free, I am free, I am free, is always true at the level of the monad or divine self, which is the aspect of self that speaks this into being or claims the attunement as form. I know who I am, I know what I am, I know how I serve, I am free. I am in the upper room, you may say this if you wish. The upper room, or the level of manifestation that we move you to accord with, is always present as the monad experiences itself. I am in the upper room, and the monad announces it's present there with the following claim: I have come, I have come, I have come. And it is this announcement of presence and being that activates the monad to reclaim all aspects of self that has been operating in distortion or refusal to know itself as of source. And the reclamation of these aspects of self that have been utilized in fear or co-opted by fear are reknown and realigned in the higher octave of the upper room through the gift that the monad expresses itself as in and with. I am in God, I am of God, I am with God. The next claim of the attunements, I am in the upper room, I have come, I have come, I have come, is, behold, I make all things new, which is the activated self operating in some ways experientially as barometer or toning fork to all that it encounters. In other words, it is the divine self experiencing itself that transitions one level of vibration to a higher one through its accord. I know who I am, I know what I am, I know how I serve. I am free, I am in the upper room, I have come. Behold, I make all things new. And the manifestation of that claim, it will be so, God is, God is, God is, which is the affect of the claim, behold, I make all things new experientially. The final claims we instruct you in are the ones we are invoking now in goodness and in truth. And you may say these words after we speak them from the upper room where all things are made new. I am in God, I am of God, I am with God. And you will now say this to all who have assembled here. You are in God, you are of God, you are with God. And you may say this to all human beings. You are in God, you are of God, you are in God, you are of God, you are with God. What is true is always true. Blessings to each of you. Stop now, please. Stop now, please. You may move.
I love the sound of the waves in the background. Anybody have anything that they want to share from that? All right, I put in the chat where we are. We're starting on page 39 with the questioner. And this is actually a really good question, and a beautiful answer.
Amy, Izzy has her hand raised.
Okay, I was going to ask if anyone, I'm trying to find a piece of paper because I wanted to ask if anyone wants to read. Izzy. Thank you. Unmute, sweetie pie. There you go.
Hey, showing up in my bathrobe. So sorry, it's early here.
It's all good.
Anyway, good. Anyway, I wanted to address something, Amy. Last week, I had said that not knowing was directly related to peace, and you asked me to unpack that a little bit, and I wasn't able to, but I wrote about it, and I was wondering, could I read to you guys what I wrote, even though
Sure.
it's a past subject here? Okay,
Sure.
let me get to it. Okay. So on not knowing, if one moves into a state of not knowing, truly not knowing, this brings peace. And my offering is that when a person truly does not know anymore, in this case, speaking from the Isadora creature still in the early stages of the shift, sometimes she can hardly even tell which way is up. A portion of the brain that seems to go with this body mind has seemed to turn into a big bowl of quivering jello, in which it seems like the information that was so readily accessible before the shift is now difficult to access. She wonders, does she have a brain tumor? And that wondering is a soft wondering, thank God. And yet it is noticed that even in this not knowing much at all anymore, the things that are relevant to getting through life are still coming forth in good order and in perfect time. I managed to post an ad for one of the rentals and get good renters, despite the fact that I wasn't sure at first that I could remember how to do this. This is a salient point here, that all is still happening well and is part of the process of learning, trust, and faith, or so it does seem. The universe still has my back and is living me in good stead, even as I go through such upheaval. My theory is that because the shift happened before I had fully established trust, that this stage, this deep uncertainty at times, is necessary in order to get the faith and trust neural pathways fully set in concrete. We'll see how this theory holds up. So far, so good. When the ego backs off with all its certainty and the not knowing steps forth, this is authentic living from trust. Before I thought I knew so much, and that constricted me like crazy, because somewhere deep in there I knew I was faking it and coming from an inflated ego. Now there's no faking it anymore. The jig's up, and I know that nothing is in the old Izzy's control anymore. When I get a bit crazed over this and grief-stricken about the loss of old Izzy, the only thing to do is to return to truth over and over and over again, part of which is the requirement of living authentically. My only hope, comfort, and security is the love of God, and I mean this with all the sincerity of a deeply yearning heart. My love of God is everything, absolutely everything about everything, and for now that's enough. This love, and I underline that. For now that's enough. This love and this trust. My only choice right now is thy will be done, O Lord. Thy will be done. Take me, live me, and make every bit of my heart yours. Amen. I love you. Thank you for listening with all your hearts, minds, and souls. I don't know what I would do without this place to write and speak from my heart. So thank you all.
Thank you for that. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, you're welcome. I wanted to explain more than I was able to explain la- last week. So
There's a part of not knowing that contains surrender, and the surrender is the end of struggle.
yes, and that's one of the words that didn't get put in that writing, and that is absolutely intrinsic, the surrender to that force that we haven't known before. Um, at least I haven't really known it before. I always thought that old Izzy was the one doing all this. So
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you again for that.
you're welcome.
Appreciate it. That's what we are here for, is to, in part, to be a sounding board for innermost thought and realization and desire and understanding and not understanding, questioning. So,
Yes. And and that brings up, not understanding and not knowing, I think sometimes we watch all these teachers and they seem to know so much, and the truth is I sometimes think that they forget to not know. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
And yeah, so that's kind of an important part here too.
Absolutely. I absolutely understand that.
Yeah.
It's hard, well, anyway, I won't go there. Anybody else? Does anyone, it's not helpful. Does anyone else have anything to share? Patricia, thank you again, Izzy.
You're welcome.
Izzy, thank you very much. Good
You're
morning,
welcome.
everyone.
Mhm.
Wonderful to be here and see you all,
Mhm.
my spiritual family here.
Mhm.
There is the world of not knowing, or what I refer to as the I don't know. I don't know. There's such freedom in it. There's such freedom in it because I don't know. And I'm not in control. And it's all about now. It's like awareness right now. That's all there is. And there's a freedom in that. And there's a joy in that freedom. And I just wanted to share that with you, Izzy, and everyone else.
Mhm. Thank you.
That boils down everything I just said very neatly and concisely. Thank you. Mm.
I heard something recently that like when the caterpillar goes into the cocoon and all the enzymes start breaking it down and it becomes like it just breaks it down into all of its components. It's called the imaginal soup. Like before it becomes a butterfly, before everything rearranges itself. And I've been really like I've been thinking of like I heard that 2 weeks ago and I haven't been able to like stop telling people about it or like thinking about it. And that really reminded me of what you wrote. Yeah.
That's, I've been thinking about that too. I love that. And somehow all of the cells and the atoms and the molecules, and they all line up in this perfect way. And out of chaos comes something that is beautiful in form. It's amazing. It's amazing. Patricia.
I'll make this quick. Meg, I think of myself sometimes just living in that mush,
Mhm.
and I come in and out.
Uh, I think we're all living in that mush now. I think this is a very mushy time. Um, so who wants to read this morning? Who's willing to read? Raise your hand. Cindy. Okay. Patricia. I will read, and Sandra. Okay. We'll see how we go. I'm sure we can get other volunteers. Okay. Um, shall we begin? Take it away, Cindy.
Love opportunities to say yes. Hint, hint. All right. Question. They were talking about the release of the idea of God as part of the transformation. And that kind of went in one ear and out the other. Your understanding of God is based on several precepts. What you wish God to be, what in fact you were told God might be, and scriptures that tell you what God is to appeal to a specific population. They are all ideas of God and nothing more. The experience of God, knowing God, is the closest you can have to the truth. And we will offer you this as we are allowed. We don't mean to diminish your ideas, but you cannot claim truth when you are resting in a lie. The lie may be comfortable and indeed comforting, the best you can have. Now, you've had a God in a cloud, a punishing, fiery God. You've had men on crosses. You've had beings that fly through the sky and perform miracles. All are aspects of God, but the best that humanity can know. The totality of the vibration of God will remain unknown. It is too vast to be known, but you may experience it. You will never know the ocean in its entirety. It is too vast to swim. But you may know the ocean each time you bathe in it or ride upon its waves. Do you understand the teaching? And I could just say that this last visual must be very important to me because it showed up in the channeling this morning. So this is something that the guide said years ago in the channeling that they did last night that I listened to this morning. There was the pointing to the same visual. You will never know the ocean in its entirety. It is too vast to swim, but you may know the ocean each time you bathe in it or ride upon its waves. And so I'm just being guided to sit with what that really, how that really can inform me right now. Thank you.
Thank you. That brings us full circle to Izzy's living without knowing, living and not knowing. Anybody else have any thoughts about this? How do you feel about not really ever having the capacity to know God? Richard.
Funny novel, I love it all. I love this idea. I've shared in other meetings my problem with the word God. Because of my condition, I see God as a separate from me. Yeah. And so I love what they said in this answer to the question because I've come what I believe in. Cindy said it well yesterday. We share our experience with each other, and although I don't know anything, I mean, nothing I believe is true in this moment may not be true. I don't know. So I trust that what I believe and what I refine my beliefs to be is closer to the truth than they were before yesterday, let's say, or the last moment. so moment to moment, I'm refining my understanding, my limited understanding as a finite mind, a separate self, of what this all is about. And so I think we're all doing that in our own way. And we express our beliefs as they are currently in the moment when we share at these meetings. And I love that because we're all one and we're all experiencing this experience of living as a separate self differently because of our conditioning. And I learned so much from your shares because we're all open and not afraid. This is a quote space, or like I had to say, it's a love fest whenever we get together. Because we're all manifesting the love that we are as we can. And we share with each other what we think, what we feel, and what our experience in the current moment. And I love that. So that's all I wanted to share. Love us all.
Oh, thank you for that, Richard. I just bathe in your words. That's really nice. Thank you so much for that. I could feel what you were saying in my bones. Rana.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm so grateful to be here. Yeah, I'm just feeling love right now. So, in this journey to discover the blocks to love's presence, I think for this one here, I'm discovering the blocks have been my limited definition of what God is. It's been such a block, as these labels and definitions, just like it said, what I was given God to be, what I was told God is, what I interpreted all of it to be was I will never as a person be able to understand that. But at one time was so sure I knew what I could trust and believe in, even though I would still question things that were happening in the world and ask questions like, why me? It's so limiting. And this visual with the ocean, anytime a wave disperses back, it becomes the ocean again. And so that's what I'm feeling here is that although I can never know everything there is to know about this infinite field of being, there can be a shift to drop back into it for a moment. Just a momentary recognition, like, oh yeah, this is what I truly am. And I can be that because I'm already that. The ocean was just a form. It was just a little aspect that got labeled, but I'm really starting to sink in that I am this, I am a divine aspect of it. And there's this whole ego thing, and it makes it possible for me to talk to you about all this. But really juicy. And when I turned the meeting on and Izzy was sharing the light, the appearance of light that was coming through her camera to me, was very interesting. Almost like, Izzy, you look about 15 years younger than you did last week. It's just so interesting about appearances, but the things that we share in this room, I think, make each of us so much more beautiful. And it's not physically, it's the spiritually. So that's what I'm recognizing in my friend Izzy, is the beautiful spirit that is coming through her. So thanks.
Thank you, Rana. Um, just want to share that when it really dawned on me that there is nothing outside of God, and that I am there right now, that it is God's being looking out at all of this, and I am all of that, and I can never not be anything but that, and that I can live and move and breathe and interact completely as that, and how much fun that can be. That was another turn of the key in the keyhole for me, and staying in that knowing, maintaining that knowing, and being that knowing is, that's just, yeah, that's where it's at. That's where it's at. Thank you, Sandra.
I noticed in this reading that twice the guides pointed to the difference between ideas of God and experiencing God. And that just hit home to me as I walk with what you're just saying, Amy, as I walk with the knowledge of what I truly am, and it's not out there somewhere. This experiencing God, is too vast to be known, but you may experience it. And so the water, I mean, we use the word water, and each of us thinks we know what everybody is saying about water. You know, it's like, have you ever tried to explain what it's like to be in the water to somebody? I mean, think about how limiting it would be to try to explain what it's like to be in the water. Well, it kind of feels like silk. It kind of feels wet. I mean, it just would be so difficult. The same with getting in the ocean. If someone had only looked at it from afar or heard descriptions of it, they would not know what it was like to really be in the ocean. You have to be in it. And even then, describing it would simply be an idea of it. It wouldn't be it. And so I guess the reason I'm saying this is trust those. I want to say to people, sometimes they have like what they call a glimpse and then they don't trust it. Trust it. It's a gift. It's an experience of God. And then when you know that's who you are in truth, changes everything. So we read a lot of words and we speak a lot of words. And William tells us that all the time. And the truth is, the experience is it, not the words about it.
Water is alive. Water is alive. Patricia.
Good morning again.
Good morning.
When I think about, not when I think about it, when I experience my spirit, my spirit comes alive, and then I can enter into the I don't know fearlessly at the moment. Of course, fear will come back. But when I doubt that, it's like the spirit is so important. I was working with someone this morning and talking about it, that somebody is dying in her family. And we were talking about death that we've known. I know I was there when my mother died, and watching her die and being with her and watching her spirit slowly leave the body. And there was just an empty shell. That was such a profound moment. So when I feel the spirit, The body isn't necessary because the spirit is into the I don't know,
Mm.
in the now.
Mm.
William and I have this phrase, in the now, now, now,
Mm.
as we all have we have the same image. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Patricia. William, now.
Boy. Um, the totality of the vibration of God will remain unknown. When I listen to Izzy, I just feel filled up to the brim, as my young son used to say, down to my tippy toes. It's like I heard a description of that swirl of the ocean that she was so much in describing. So to me, it was just eloquent. And what it does for me is I just feel myself filled up with that. And there's no way that my thinking can do that. So I have to be at all. And so that's what I go to. And when I use this word now, you know what? I have to apologize. Yes, I love it. I love it. But you know what? Even my use of the word now is such it's just not it. It's a word that means so much to me, but really, 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 it's what I can't say. It's that's the closest I can come to it. But when I listen to Izzy, and she's done this several times, I just am so amazed that I just get this wonderful. It's I don't know if I can use the word mush, no, that whatever it is, that now it's that softening to, I just don't have any idea. That's the kind of I don't know. And that is the surrender. So, and being able to not know, because we're all swimming blindfolded, it feels to me, I am. And I bump into little currents here and there that just feel so, oh, that's cooler, oh, that's warmer. I don't know. But it all feels like it's one big ocean of now. I just wanted to say that. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, swimming blindfolded. That's beautiful imagery. Really beautiful. Yeah. Let's see what we got in the chat here. Yeah, being filled to the brim. Yeah, down to your tippy toes. Thank you for that, William. And Izzy, you just started us off, Izzy, with this really glorious piece of inner work that has set the tone for everything that's followed. It's beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, beautiful. I am reminded for some reason of Eben Alexander's image in his book, Proof of Heaven. I don't know if anyone has read it or not read it, but he says at one point he is in this space and there are these sort of cloud-like beings that he calls cherubim, but they're not. They're just these cloud-like beings, and they are absolutely overwhelmed with their love for God, and they're just singing the praises of God, for lack of a better word, of the Creator. They're just singing its praises. That's all they want to do. That's all they're meant to do, is just sing the absolute magnificence of creation. And he couldn't describe it, and I can imagine why he couldn't, but I think about that every once in a while. I think all of us are filled with that sort of feeling of glory that is beyond words. We feel it, and I think about that just being your mission, that being what you do. Yeah, amazing. Oh, okay. Patricia, are you ready to read the next question on page 40? Yeah. Patricia, you do have to unmute, sweetheart.
That would help, wouldn't it?
That would help. We can read lips a little, but not much.
The guides had talked. Is that where we are?
Yep.
The guides had talked a lot today about us needing to recognize or release or remake the choices that we've made in fear. I understand that sometimes as a conscious effort, and sometimes it happens in batches or feels like big chunks of stuff that fall off at the same time. When do we need to be conscious of what we're releasing? The answer to the question is it's happening anyway. You really can't control it. You're not deciding what should be released and when. You can offer anything to God, or again, your idea of God, and trust that it will be met in perfect ways. But this is not self-improvement. The small self doesn't address the small self in high ways. It does the best it can with the tools it has been given. An alchemical act, one of re-knowing and reconciliation, happens very quickly and very slowly, depending on what is requiring movement. Paul is seeing the image of the shore being eroded. You notice the change quickly when the erosion has occurred, but it has been imperceptible in its process. And one day it is seen for what it is. In many ways, that is the process of change that you undergo. But undergoing this change, which is a product of ascension, not the reason for it, something that you understand by being in it, and after the effect of it. You don't know the wave has hit you until you are in the wave. Nor do you know where the wave has carried you until you are brought to the new shore. Period, period, period. Woo!
This brings new meaning to stop seeking. Right. I had this whole thing underlined.
I love that phrase. After the fact of it. That's me and my story of explaining and wanting to recapture or whatever. And that's what I love about the imperceptibility of erosion, the process that's happening with or without me even noticing it. It just is. Now is always now, occurring with or without me noticing it.
Yeah. Yeah. The small self so wants to know and be in control. Rana.
What really hits me is this is not a self-improvement program, right? I do all this work. I think I know what needs to be released. I think I know what disturbs me. Oh, now I must address this. I've been in recovery for a long time. Do a fourth step on it, um, like the self trying to make a better self. And this is just saying again, I have no control over that or pick and choose. It just keeps bringing this one back to the idea that the fact that I'm here right now reading this book in this gathering, how did that happen? Small increments, the little bit of erosion at a time, and really I thought it was to make a better Rana, right? But there's so much more than that, than just being a kind person on the planet. There's a truth about who I really am. And I didn't even know I wanted to know what that answer to that question was. I didn't do it. So it's back to that, like, who's running the show? What's running the show? I don't know, but I'm here to enjoy the experience of it. I can either try to push or accept. And so that's what occurs to me. And I love again that he brought up the wave, right? You don't know you were smashed by that wave or where it's going to take you until it's all over. And you're like, wow, I'm a different identity than I was 20 years ago. I'm not that same. There's a sameness. The true beingness is the same, but the identity thing, totally different. And I can fall into different ones every day, so it's all temporary. Thank you.
Maybe you're more of who you truly are. Yeah, more of who we are, more of who we truly are. This is where I totally get the singing the glory of God and Dago, everything is for me, because I don't know jack shit. And thank God I don't, because I would totally screw it up, right? I am so happy. And I believe the universe has my back, right? The universe has my back. Wow. What a phenomenal thing to know. And that's where, my mother loves me, right? My mother absolutely loves me, and she is always in my pocket. May. Good to have you here.
Thank you. Yeah, it's nice to be here. I was thinking about kind of in the ocean metaphor, where it's like the water completely is going to feel different depending on how you feel about it. It just your experience coming into it. Like some people are like afraid of the ocean, and then like others like I went to the beach the other day and like my friend didn't want to go in, but I like spent hours just like swimming in the sea, and it was just like I do feel very held by like it. Like I kind of like to call God it, as more of like an encompassing thing. And then I was also thinking about how it is just like the experience of the ocean is kind of this maybe like in the course it says that all thought creates reality. It's in some form, and it is kind of the ocean is just our thoughts, and it's like it ricochets. It like we can't really control it, but we are just like swimming in the experience of it. And I think like it also says that we choose between love and fear in every single moment. And I think that has a huge effect on how we experience the ocean. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you so much. Thank you very much, May. That reminds me of another near-death experience, a guy that is taken to a beautiful lake, crystal clear water, absolutely pure, and he steps into it, and the water comes up and envelops his body, and he realizes the water is just loving him, and he can feel the intelligence of the water. And it's just exploring his whole form and loving it and speaking to it and saying hello to it. And that has really stayed with me. And so swimming in the ocean, that we are held by the ocean. We are literally held by it. Yeah, it lifts us up. And if we don't resist it, it can be very, and also when you spend time in the water, those of us who know, when you get out, especially salt water, don't you feel cleaner inside and out? It's this really amazing thing that water does, salt water especially.
Yeah. And then also like I remember in the telepathy tapes, they were talking about some of the kids and they were really like connected to water. Like they felt like way more at home like in the water. And I think that's like that feels important.
Really important. And babies love water, right? And they just know, they know how to move in the water, right? Sandra.
I was just reminded of what Jesus said to the woman at the well. She was drawing water and he said, I will give you rivers of living water and you will never thirst again.
Living water.
Never thirst again.
Wow. Wow. Living water. That's what yeah. Wow. Anybody else?
I just find it becoming easier to look at this body or that body without my or mine. It's kind of curious. And so this body or that body over there, they're all bodies, they're all part of this ocean or this. And I think even getting out of salt water, we carry the spirit of that, the salt on our skin, which kind of itches us. And so it's a way of a reminder that this body goes through life picking up whatever's that I don't really notice in the moment. But, 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 and I see it more like, wow, I don't have to take it so personally now because there's no I really, even the words I'm using, I've heard them, but it's feeling it. It's feeling. There's no me there. Wow, where did I go? Oh, I never was there. Oh,
Thank you. We ready to move on? All right, we're on day 7. I'll take this one and then Sandra. What you see before you is a creative act, is a collective act of creation. Everything seen and that may be seen in visible form has been agreed by you. The reality you see is an agreement itself. An agreement to know the world through the senses, yes, in an embodied state. The elasticity of your reality is far more than you know, and there is nothing solid in form that appears solid, and even the sky is more than the sky. The sky is God, the earth is God, the air you breathe, the substance of God, in one form, exhaled in another. The divine as all things. You seek to categorize your world, which is good, what is evil, what should be there, what should not. But we will say to you today, until reconciliation occurs, all things are of God, you will know the self in separation. Now, it is not a great leap, as you might presuppose. The idea of source and substance in a unified state can be understood by you intellectually, but we are no longer appealing to the intellect when we teach. We wish to offer you experience of manifestation that will qualify you in your knowing to know the self as of God, and knowing means realization. Bye, Izzy. Now, to be in a realized state is not to walk on water. You seek to do miracles, so you might say, I have done miracles. You do not do miracles. You become as the miracle in some ways, the translator of form to higher octave through your interaction with it. Now, once you understand that form itself, an expression of God, can and must be reknown, the realization of manifestation has already occurred. And we will say this: the moment permission is given to re-see anything, the monad itself will begin its manifestation as and through that thing. In other words, the Christ or divine self in its perception is already moving to lift what it encounters once permission is given. But permission must be given in the lower realm, because your agreements in form, the manifestation as form, has claimed you in alignment to that which is in density. I'm going to stop there. So what I'm hearing there is that being in form is its own claim. It has its own claim that has to be released willingly. And that this is just what A Course says about the carpet rolling up and rolling back. The edges of the carpet, which is manifest form, have to roll up. And that's where we are, right? Does that make sense? So the carpet, right, spirals. And so the edge of the spiral has to roll up. And that's what we're doing. We're giving permission to the carpet to roll us up in it. Right. And I love that we have to give our permission, and then the work is done from above. It's just totally a two-way street. Right? Sandra.
Yes, I do. I think the way you explained it was so perfect. And two things about this reading. The first is the word realization. That when do I realize something? That's when, oh, I get it. I get it, I realize it. Then I know it. And the other thing is, I remember when I first picked up the Course in Miracles, and in the introduction, I think it is, where they explain how Bill said to Helen, there must be a better way. And I think there must be a better way was this willingness to see things differently. And I loved reading that. And then they didn't know what all this was going to happen, that she would start hearing a voice and then it would be dictated. I mean, they never could have predicted that. That wasn't probably the better way they were thinking of. They were probably thinking we all need to get along better here, But and for me, I remember I had been newly promoted to a position, and I was so shocked by all the politics and the wanting of territory and the seeking of power among people. And there was this one woman who I noticed wasn't like that. And I said to her, tell me how you do that. Why are you always so positive about everybody? And that was my willingness. And then she gave me a book to read. And when I read that book, I had an awakening experience. I didn't know that was going to happen. But it is this willingness that you talked about, this word agreement. The guides use the word agreement all the time. So what you said about a two-way street, yeah, I don't think it's one way at all. There's something two-way. I can't explain the two-wayness of it. I can't make it fit any particular philosophy or approach to spirituality. I just know there is this inclination to wanting to do something better. This inclination, I even remember as a little girl telling my mother, I want to be good, There was something, and it didn't mean obeying the rules. It meant something bigger than that. And so I'm glad that this paragraph is here, especially permission must be given. It doesn't mean then that you take over and you start designing the pathway. It means you just want to. You have a wanting in you.
Yeah, desire. Well, who was it in the non-dual tradition? I can't remember who it was, but it was basically that desire is everything.
Yeah, and then miracles happen. And it says you don't do the miracle. It says you are the miracle. Because now, you've realized the truth. And it's like, I didn't do anything. All I did was say, why are you so good? All Bill said was, there must be a better way.
Thank you. Oh, yes. May says, you are the miracle, and so is everyone else. Absolutely. That is right. I am the way, Kendall says. Yep. I am the light of the world. All of it. Cindy. We haven't heard from Cindy yet this morning. She's taking a break.
I'm listening, watching. I'm not, I don't really connect with the carpet metaphor. I don't know why. And so it always becomes interesting when I don't see. That's always a sign for me to sink in deeper, not to argue against it, just to recognize that there's a blind spot. What was coming up for me and what feels like, I love that I have to be in agreement. I feel like I'm pushing against things, and if I just stop pushing against, but I'm going to point again to what I listened to, and it'll be up in the library in the next couple hours. I can recommend this, what was channeled last night. They were pointing to radio stations. I think it's the same type of thing we're talking about, where in the common field that's fear-based, it's one radio station. You're tuning into a specific radio station. And they were also talking about how there's a lot of different ways to look at the common field, which I feel is really useful in this conversation. They said 3 people that are in agreement can create a common field. And then a whole community or a whole country creates a common field based on their ideology. And the entire human species has their own common field. And we're not abandoning the species common field through this work. We're uplifting it and creating something new, which we've been talking about. So this is not a self-improvement practice. This is allowing for something that has been previously unknown, which is really very cool. This getting really comfortable not knowing, because if we know from a standpoint of separation, then what we know is not true, right? But when I was sitting with this discomfort relative to the carpet rolling up and rolling back, and it might just be in my space, carpet is too solid. Like if you had used the term wave, I probably wouldn't have even, it probably wouldn't, it would have come and went. But perhaps when I look at a carpet never changes and we're continuously changing, perhaps that's it. But the thing I heard the guide say is that in many ways, what we're doing is we're choosing to just tune into a different radio station, a higher radio station. And we could go back down. They've always said that we can drop back down into the lower common field. And that's where agreement, where do we want to hang out? So thank you. I got a lot of stuff just here, and I no longer believe a lot of what I hear inside my space. So I appreciate being able to just kind of see what I say when I start saying it. I learned that from Sandra. Oh, I wonder what's going to come out of my mouth now. Anyway, but I'm glad I did that. For me, I think it's just that a carpet is something solid, and I just don't feel all that solid anymore. So the carpet isn't fluid in the fact that it doesn't really change.
Yeah. So I see it as in terms of Gary Renard's The Disappearance of the Universe, and it's almost like a carpet of stars that rolls out, and it's the universe, it's universes, carpets, just the entire thing rolling out and all the space in between. That's kind of how I see it, but I appreciate what you said. Yeah. So Richard, and then Sandra's going to read next. Richard, you're up.
I also, I'm not comfortable with the carpet idea. What and many don't agree with me, but that's okay. That's my path, right? So I believe in the dream, and the dream is over. And the Course of Miracles says, we but view the dream from a point at which it ended, believing we experience it once again. So the dream is over. So whatever is happening in the world we think we're in, it's already over. So, and whatever we do in the dream, we did in the dream. If we awakened in the dream, we awakened in the dream. That helps me to accept everything as it is. Exactly as it is. Because that's exactly the way it was in the dream. So, what is my reaction to what happened in the past? A whole dream is the past. So, that's why I learned to identify as my true self. By realizing that it makes it easier for me to walk the dream, so to speak, as a separate self, and be the love that I am in the dream. So, which through my own frustrating path, I found that to be the truth for me. I shared before that when I woke up, I thought that was it. I was going to be in heaven. Then I woke up again. I was still Richard. Well, what's Richard doing in the dream? Hey, I already woke up. Why am I here? What am I doing here? And so, and now I've come to believe it's easier for me to wrap my mind around my limited mind, my finite mind, my non-existent mind, around the idea that the dream's over. And I would like to meet somebody who makes films, because I had this idea of a film that starts out with, you're watching a beautiful screen, a vast array of colors, and there's a beautiful music going on. And that's all there is on the screen. and you sit there in awe and peace and love. And then all of a sudden there's a black dot on the screen, and it goes away, and you're back in this wonderful dream. A voice speaks out, says, "What the hell was that?" And you go back to the black dot on the screen. And that was a tiny mad idea. That was a dream. That is what we are experiencing. That dot that's already over, but we're stuck in this wormhole, dark space kind of space where in that space we made the whole universe. We made multiple universes. We made multiple beings, all living as different things. And but it's already over. So I was prompted to share that. Thank you.
I love that movie idea. That's great. Oh my goodness, thank you. All right, Sandra, are you ready to read? We're starting from The Fluid Nature.
Well, we're at 11:12,
Okay.
and I think there's some things in this next paragraph that I don't understand, and I would love to have a discussion about. So maybe we could start that next time.
Okay.
We only have 3 minutes. But I do have a comment on what Richard said. Many of the great teachers who walked this earth, they didn't vaporize when they woke up. They woke up the next day and they were still here. And aren't we glad? Because they taught us, they led the way, they just realized who they were and walked around spreading that. So I don't think we get to choose when the time is up for this one. Particular manifestation. And Amy, once again, thank you for your teaching today, and thanks to everyone who contributed.
I'm gonna mute myself because I've got some noise going on around me. So I just want to say thank you to everybody, and Sandra, you could sign us out, and Cindy.
We're hanging out on Sunday. That's how I'm going to sign us out. Please come back noon to 4 Sunday afternoon, noon to 4 Eastern Standard Time. We're going to have a blast. It'll be fun to see what happens when we spend that much time together with frequent music breaks. And I'm just really like, my mind is blown with whatever is going on here. I'm not going to think about it. I'm just going to enjoy the ride. I love us.
Thank
See you
you,
Sunday.
everybody.
Thank you all. See you soon.